Hey, it's Jericho here.
Chris Jericho, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Excellent. It's great to have you on today.
Oh, it's good to be here.
Well, I will start right off here and ask you about the new Fozzy album. I know it's the best-selling album you guys have put out yet. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just gone through the roof. Do You Want to Start a War is the name of it. It debuted in the top 50 on the Billboard charts, and first single, Lights Go Out, was top 20. We're getting ready to release the second single, the title track, Do You Want to Start a War. I've done a couple tours. Just finished up with Theory of a Dead Man. That was a sold-out tour. We're getting ready to start our tour with Texas Hippie Coalition and Shaman's Harvest on November 21st or November 20th. So it's been a really busy last few months for Fozzy and very successful. So we're very, very excited.
Yeah, and I know November 22nd you'll actually be here in Minneapolis. Have you played a lot of shows through Minnesota? Or?
We haven't really. We did one show in Minneapolis a couple years ago, and we're really excited. It's actually getting the preliminary ticket sales. Minneapolis is the biggest ticket seller already. So we're excited. We had a great show there a few years ago, like I said, and I think Minneapolis is a great rock and roll market. It's a great Chris Jericho market, so we're really excited about coming back.
Yeah, I know most people are kind of leery about coming here around November, but being from Canada, I'm sure it's not a problem.
Yeah, man, you know what I mean? It's like you're not going to worry about that. I mean, if it's cold outside, well, tough luck, you wear a jacket, you know? Yeah. And I think people appreciate that when you come to town, even when it's getting a little bit cold, because I know growing up in Winnipeg that when it gets cold, people want to do, they want to do stuff. They want to forget that it's cold outside. So it's actually a pretty good time of year to tour. And I think maybe February might be a little crazy, but November, the snow's just starting to fall. It's nice weather there.
Well, how difficult was it for you to convince people that Fozzy was, more than just that band that wrestler is in? Did it take a while for you guys to kind of feel legitimate?
Yeah, I mean, it took a while, but at first we were kind of just doing it part-time. But in 2010, we all made a conscious decision to make Fozzy the priority. And when we started doing that, people started to see a different side of the band. And, there's always going to be those that say, oh, you can't do this, you're a wrestler, it's not going to work. And I'm sure the same people that told Jared Leto he couldn't be in a band and be an actor. And the guy won an Oscar this year and sold out the Hollywood Bowl with 30 Seconds to Mars. So it's one of those things where if you believe in yourself and if the band is good, after a while, people don't care who's in it. And, we've proved for the last 3 records and all the tours that we've done, we put on a great, energetic, exciting show. You're not going to see any other band like Fozzy. The songs kick ass. The albums kick ass. So we're kind of like, we probably had to work twice as hard to get people's respect, but once we get it, we've got it for life. And we don't care. We don't mind. We like low expectations because we've built, a career on them. We're like the band that hides in the weeds and you don't see us or don't know about us, and then we jump out and bite you in the ass and you never forget us. We like that, and that's why we've been able to tour with Metallica and Shinedown and Avenged Sevenfold and Godsmack and Theory of a Dead Man and all these great bands that we've went out with. It's because we hold our own. If it was just Chris Jericho's thing, we would have been broken up and ostracized years and years and years ago. It's like Paul Stanley used to say about Kiss. You can't put makeup on a record. And that's the case. Kiss has makeup. But what's the music like? Well, the music is great. Well, then who cares if they have makeup? It makes for a great show.
Sure. But
it's not the only thing they hang their hat on. It's the same with us. Okay, I'm a wrestler. Now get over it and listen to the music and realize that we kick ass.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, considering your background, in wrestling in Japan and making it, through all the different territories back then, it was probably less likely that you'd be discouraged, trying to get this band off the ground.
Well, even before that, I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to be in a rock band and I wanted to be a wrestler. And when you're talking to Chris Jericho, wrestler, when I was 19 years old and said I want to be a wrestler, everyone laughed at me. You'll never do that. You're crazy. You're stupid. Well, guess what? I did. So I've been through this before. I know that people tell you can't do something are usually the ones that have failed at their own dreams. And I didn't only make it once. I'm making it twice now. Twice these dreams came true. So, yeah, I wouldn't bet against me either because I'm very stubborn and I don't care if people don't like it. I don't care if people don't want it to happen. I'm going to keep doing it anyways. When I'm 70 years old, I'll be playing acoustic guitar on the back of a coffee shop, taking quarters in a coffee, mug if I have to. This is what I do. I didn't just wake up one day and go, hey, I'm going to be a singer in a rock band. I've been doing it since I was 12 years old. So it's part of who I am.
Yeah, awesome for sure. I want to touch a little bit on your wrestling career. I'm a huge fan. And I know you started in WWE back in '99, and you've had a couple runs, more recently. Can you kind of feel a shift maybe in the back as far as when Vince McMahon ran the show and now more when Triple H is kind of taking over things?
Well, I mean, there's certain differences, obviously, but Triple H hasn't really taken over. He just has a lot of responsibilities that Vince has given to him. Vince is still the boss. He's still in charge. He's still the one that makes the final decisions on the big decisions. So he's just lightened his own load a bit and given himself a little bit of a break by, giving Triple H more responsibility. So it's like I said, there's differences between the two, but you always have to go through Vince anyway. So it really doesn't matter because he's still the boss.
Yeah, so do you see it maybe a changing direction once he kind of, I don't know if he'll ever step aside. He seems to be kind of invincible, but you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, he'll be in charge until the day he leaves this earth. So I don't know if there's a direction change. I think wrestling is pretty much wrestling. You catch on, and it's all about connecting with the crowd. That's the most important thing, and we all know that, and anybody that's kind of destined to take over for Vince knows that as well. So I think that the WWE is the WWE. There's a certain formula that we have. There's a certain mindset that we have. There's a certain entertainment value that we have, and that's never going to go away. That's kind of Vince's template that he created, and that will never change.
Sure, and I know that you were just there recently and left, obviously, for Fozzy and your other projects. If your schedule allows, would we see you back maybe sometime next year? Or?
Well, I mean, it's not just my schedule. It's if the WWE has something for me to do and if they want me back. I mean, it's not like they're just sitting around pining for Chris Jericho to return. I was going to come back for WrestleMania 30, but we couldn't really think of anything for me to do that was kind of worthy of Jericho, for lack of a better term. So, absolutely, if my schedule permits it, I'll be back. If their schedule permits it, and if we can come up with something that we both like. That's why I came back in the summer to do the thing with Bray Wyatt, which I really enjoyed and really wanted to do. So that's kind of what it's based on. What do they have that they want Jericho to do, and does Jericho want to do it, and is their schedule open for it, and is my schedule open for it? And if we can work that out, then I'm sure we'll do more work together, because I feel great in the ring. It's definitely not that reason why I'm not doing it. There's other things going on, and once you kind of step out, then you have to wait and see where you fit in if you want to come back.
Well, do you think more of the veterans should have kind of this part-time schedule like you do, maybe to keep them more healthy or keep the characters fresh, or maybe is that not possible in today's landscape?
No idea. I just know for me it's possible because I do it. So
sure.
I don't know about anybody else, and quite frankly, I don't really care about what anybody else's schedule is or what they want to do. For me, this once again wasn't something that I sat down and went, I'm just going to start taking breaks and come back. It's like I had some things going on. I took the time to do it, and when I was ready to come back, they welcomed me back, and now it's kind of become a commonplace thing. When do you want to come back? So I don't know how anybody else runs their business, but like I said, for me, it's a pretty good deal. It keeps me fresh mentally and physically, but more importantly, I'm not going to be wrestling forever. It's not something that's going to happen. There's other things that are brewing, so you got to take advantage of those things and make them happen and start thinking, what's my career going to be for the second half of my life? Because I've been wrestling for 24 years and probably can still wrestle for another 10 if I wanted to, but I don't know if I want to at this point, so we'll see what happens.
Sure. And I've read there's maybe a new Chris Jericho DVD in the works. Is that true, or what can we expect from that?
Just more like the first one, but not a documentary, just some classic matches, and we've got a pretty cool kind of thread storyline that runs through it to make it a little bit more unique and make it interesting. But it's very Jericho, and if you like me, you will like the DVD as well. It's just in the very early stages. We've done the filming. I have to see some edits and see what it all looks like, but we came up with something pretty cool that's never really been done before as far as the wraparounds for the matches. And then just more classic Jericho matches. If you like watching me, then you'll like this DVD. And if you don't like watching me, you won't buy the DVD anyway. So what difference does it make?
Well, I got to ask you, anytime we have someone who's been in professional wrestling, we ask them if they could wrestle anyone from the past, who would it be?
I don't know, man. Like, I pretty much worked with everybody that I ever wanted to work with. I never got to work with Owen Hart. He passed away before I got to the WWE. And Bret Hart was injured before I was really big enough to work with him. So I guess the Hart brothers would be the two that I'd choose.
Okay. Let's talk a bit about your podcast, Talk is Jericho. And I know you've been doing that for almost a year now, so obviously that is successful as well, just like everything else you do. How did that come about, and is it hard to kind of fit that into your busy schedule?
Well, I mean, when you're on the road with Fozzy, there's a lot of free time. You get to the venue and there's sound check, but you're basically just waiting around all day, doing press and stuff if you have any. So it's a perfect time. That's why it's great to write. I just wrote my third book or doing podcasts. I get the interviews in the can when I'm able to, and then do, the wraparounds, the intros and the outros, and kind of the beginning monologue and all that sort of stuff each week. So it gives me time to focus and gives me, something to do. I have a portable rig that I take with me, and it's, it works out if I'm on, when we did festivals this summer with Fozzy, it's like, well, who's on the festival? Hell yeah. Okay, I'll walk over to Vinnie Paul's dressing room and bang out a podcast with him. Okay, Zombie's over here. I'll go talk to Rob for a bit. Like, just whoever's around, it gives you time to just, you have the time to kill, and it gives you, something positive to do while you're waiting around instead of just sitting there doing nothing. So it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy the podcast. I enjoy all the different guests that I have on it. I'm really getting into it. And it's growing every day, and not just among wrestling fans and music fans, but among podcast fans in general. And that's the secret. I gotta, Steve Austin and Jim Ross aren't my competition. Adam Carolla and Bill Rogan are, Chris Hardwick, those type of guys. And that's why I have the guests that I have. I make them very diverse and go for all different types of people in entertainment and sometimes not entertainment, sports, or whatever it may be. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's doing so well.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I'm sure some of the wrestling diehards might be upset about it, but when you guys have Rob Halford and Michael Sweet and Kevin Smith and these kind of people on, I think that's awesome.
Well, if wrestling diehards don't like it, then I don't care. Don't listen. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've never been just a wrestler. I'm an entertainer, and that's what I do. And there's some people that just always want wrestling, and that's, to me, very closed-minded. It drives me nuts. And it's like, oh, give us more wrestling. It's like, just if you like me and you trust all the entertainment I've given you over the years, then just shut up and listen. I guarantee you're going to like it, because I don't have anybody on the show who's not interesting.
So I know that Paul Stanley is on your short list. Is there anyone else you're trying to get, kind of like dream guests for the podcast?
I mean, just whoever's interesting, you know what I mean? Like I said, like obviously, because Paul McCartney or Ringo Starr, but I mean, those guys are kind of unattainable. But Paul Stanley, I'm getting closer and closer, and he's kind of the holy grail for me. Once I get Paul on the show, then if I want to retire, I can. But that's become the white whale for me.
Awesome.
The star child.
And I know you mentioned it briefly, but your new book, Best in the World at What I Have No Idea, is been out for a little while now. Is that kind of similar to your last books, just kind of wrestling, or is it a little of everything?
Well, my last book was both. I mean, it's the story of my life. So once again, yes, there's some wrestling stuff, and there's some Fozzy stuff, and Dance with the Stars stuff, and Golden Gods hosting stuff, and everything in between. So all the things that I've been through over the last 6 years. And I think a lot of people are saying it's the favorite of the three, because it's more relatable, because we can remember a lot of the stuff that happened, whereas the first couple were more far in the past, or the first one you don't even really know any of the stories, but the third one, it's very relatable to people. And once again, like I said, it's me writing about all the things that I've went through in all the different variations.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to. I'm going to be picking it up here pretty soon, and I have your other two. And I know somebody probably thinks wrestling is probably maybe the toughest touring schedule, but then if you're also in a full-time band, podcast, writing books, it's incredible that you're keeping all this stuff in the air. Well,
I mean, it's just a passion that I had. It boils down to when I was a kid, I wanted to be a wrestler, and I wanted to be in a rock and roll band. And when you get a chance to tour around and come to Minneapolis to play, it's a lot of fun. So we're really excited about the tour. I'm excited about coming back to rock Minneapolis November 22nd, November 24th, November 22nd, that's what it is.
Yep, 22nd at Mill City Nights.
Great, man. Well, we're looking forward to coming back.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing you. Do you have any other projects coming up maybe you want to mention, or any final thoughts?
I got a split right now because I got to catch a flight to LA to do some podcast interviews. So that's my biggest project right now, is just getting all these interviews in the can and making some entertaining shows.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking some time out. Thanks again, man.
Talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.